All good. We're good to go.
All right, great. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us. We're Graphic Novel Geeks, bringing you our comic show every other Sunday. Today we've got a special guest, John Pogorelskin. He's a Underground Comics creator, and he's currently teaching some classes about comics at a gallery in Davis. So let's get started. Hey, John, how you doing today?
Good, very good, thanks.
Cool. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how you got into making comics and what kind of comics you make?
Yeah.
Well, I started when I was in junior high, copying the comics that I really liked. That's how most people start out. They find a cartoonist that they really admire and just kind of gets a hold of their imagination, and they just start copying the artwork themselves. And what that ends up doing is it gives you an insight into the creative process of the cartoonist, because your hand is replicating the lines that they made, and there's like an unconscious way of learning how to make line and why that line works. You're not really aware of it at the time, but it eventually you just take it on yourself, and you become intuitive to it. So I just kept at it. It was a way for me to stay alive, basically, in junior high, because I was a very small boy, and by being able to draw the cartoons of Ed Big Daddy Roth and his Rat Fink line, I was able to draw those cartoons on the book covers of everybody in my class, and that included like the football players and the jocks and everything. So
Cool.
they thought that was pretty cool, and I have an example of that art style here.
Hey.
Nice.
So I draw these things on the book covers of people, and they just thought that was really cool. So I had an army of bodyguards basically all through high school.
All right.
Nobody messed with me.
Very cool.
The neat thing is that years later, the guy who came up with these designs was a guy by the name of Ed Big Daddy Roth. And he was a custom car maker. He wasn't really a cartoonist. He didn't draw the cartoons. He hired freelancers to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He had a studio, and people like Ed Newton and Robert Williams were the ones who actually drew the designs. And you might know Robert Williams from Zap Comics.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he started with Ed Roth in 1965, 66 as his art director. And but years later, I was working for I was freelancing for a comic book title that I used to read when I was a kid, and it was called Cartoons Magazine.
Huh.
All right.
Emphasis
cool.
on the car. And it was all hot rod and dragster related stuff, because that's what I was into. So I got a hold of the editor one day when I saw it on the newsstand. I couldn't believe it was still on the newsstand. This is after I was married and had a kid. And I started submitting to it. And through that work, freelance work in that magazine, which was published by Peterson Publishing, I was introduced to Ed Roth, and I started freelancing for him too. So it kind of went full circle. I worked on his Rat Fink comics, and I worked on T-shirt designs, and I made posters for him like this.
Cool.
Very nice.
Because I became pretty good at replicating chrome in watercolors and things like that, which is what they really like, and those blown Hemi engines and everything. And from there, I just I kept moving along and developing more different cartoon styles, and I started getting work in magazines like this one, Wooden Boat.
Oh,
I did this.
I like that.
Getting started in boats.
All right.
And it's an insert. It's a supplement that they had teaching novice boaters the rules of the road, how to how to sail and things like that. And then I went in.
Yeah, cool.
I started getting work in this one, Small Craft Advisor, and I do like single spot cartoons.
Oh, nice.
Very
I like
nice.
that. Very nice.
And then I've been in some other local and international zines. This one is Headache Comics. This comes out of England, and let's see. I had a piece in here. It's called "The First Time I Ever Heard the Blues,"
Great.
and let's see if I got anything else. Well, in cartoons, this issue is when it made its comeback, and here's a splash page from my piece in it.
Things from the grease pit.
Yep.
Cool. So, hey, John, how did you make the transition from like Rat Fink hot rods to like boat magazines and stuff? Was it just from you submitting to these magazines, or were these guys approaching you at this point after cartoons?
No, I would approach them, and because I'm always looking for an outlet for my work, and which is what a freelancer does. You approach different publications that you think your style might fit, and then you send them stuff. I always used to send them this is in snail mail, and you'd have a 9.5 by 12 brown manila envelope, and what I would do is I'd draw a huge cartoon or a comic on the front of the envelope, detailed and really nice, and then that's what they would receive in the mail. So you can imagine that if you're an editor and you're receiving anywhere from 50 to 200 envelopes a week, and they just get dumped on your desk, and you just start looking through them real quick and everything. If you come across an envelope that's got a piece of art on the front, you're going to put that to the side. That's going to be the first one you open up. Yeah,
for sure.
That's 100% true.
And that worked for me 100% of the time. It never failed. And that's how I'd get into these publications. And, because I went the extra mile, and I had the imagination and everything. And that's what they were looking for. And also I knew how to, take editorial and artistic direction. I was taught by guys like Dennis Ellefson, who was the editor of Cartoons magazine, and Pete Millar, who was the founder and editor of Cartoons. And then he did his own comic called Drag Cartoons, and also Ed Roth. And what you have to understand about these guys is that, they came from the Mad Men generation. They were like my dad's age and everything. And, they were the 2 martini lunch, pack of cigarettes, a day crowd and everything. And I'll never forget when I called Dennis Ellefson to follow up on a piece I'd sent him. The first thing he asked me after, he said, "So you want to get into this business, do you?" And I said, "Yes, I definitely do." And he said, "Well, let me ask you something. Do you have a thick skin?" And I said, "Well, I guess so. Why? He says, well, you better have one, and you better have a very thick one, because if you're going to be in this business, you need to know how to take criticism and direction that's not going to be sugar coated in any way, shape, or form. And boy, was he right.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure.
Because right after that, then he said, I have your piece here in front of me, and so let me tell you what I like about it. There's this. Now let me tell you what I don't like. And I came away bruised and bloodied, but a lot wiser. I stuck with it. He stuck with me, and I became one of his regular contributors, and we ended up becoming good friends too. So,
Oh, very cool. Okay.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I mean, do you consider your style and the comics that you do to be underground comics, or what do you consider what you're doing?
well, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I mean, I can do something, like from this, to this.
Nice. I like it.
It's like a New Yorker style.
It is, exactly. And in fact, I've started to submit cartoons to the New Yorker now.
Oh, cool.
So and I'm doing things like like this.
Oh, wow.
Mm,
Very different
nice.
style.
Very versatile.
So I mean, I guess to answer your question, you can't really categorize me in any way. I mean, I do.
Ooh,
Wow, that's awesome.
wow.
That's super cool. It's radical.
Wow,
Yeah.
what's that made out of?
Foam core, paper mache, cardboard.
That is so kick.
Wow.
So awesome.
Yeah. So I guess the best way to categorize me is as insane.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I understand that you've taught some various different classes and seminars about comic books. Can you tell us about some of what you've done and some of what you're currently teaching?
Well, what I'm going to do in Davis is basically to show them how to go from start to finish a comics or graphic novel page. I want to emphasize character development, character design. I want to emphasize panel sequences, and like how to show emotion, mood, passage of time by using sequential panels, facial expressions, tones, things like that, and then have them pencil that up, and then by using a light box transfer that to Bristol and inking. And
Okay.
I want them to try different styles of inking, micron pens, dip pens, and brush.
Cool.
And so I want them to produce a finished page that could be photographed and published.
Okay.
Very nice tool there.
Cool. Yeah, and is that class only in person or is it online as well? And where could people go if they're interested in signing up?
You go on to the Pence Gallery website, and you can sign up there and find out whether it's online also. I do not know. I don't think they have the capability to do it online, but I could be wrong. yeah, don't go by me, because I'm not sure what they are able to do. Because now that I think about it, I think they've had other seminars that you could access online.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's Pence, PENCE Gallery in Davis.
Cool.
All right, cool. Very cool.
And then when the students, like when everyone finishes like their individual pages, do you like collect that into kind of like an anthology for that class, or is that something that you do?
No, I wasn't thinking about that, but I'm definitely going to steal that idea.
No, that's because that would be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
No, I think that's an excellent idea. That's a really good idea. I mean, that's what we did at the Comics Club, was put together try and put together an anthology every year. I don't know if they're still doing it. Things kind of fell apart when I wasn't like twisting people's arms.
Mm.
Being the type of editor that Dennis Ellison taught me how to be.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes that worked, sometimes it didn't. People would run away crying.
Yeah, so on that note, we got a sample here of comic the SFSU all new comics, zine comics that John helped make happen. So we've got a piece from him on the cover here, and
Nice.
yeah, I just collected. There's a comics art club at San Francisco State, and I think like they were trying to do it once or twice a year. They collected contributions from members. I got a little piece in there myself. And, so if you're a student over at SF State, they do still have the SFSU Comics Art Club, Salon of Comics that people can join. And I believe that they're still trying to get these zines out kind of regularly. And, it's just like a whole bunch of different styles because, it's an anthology, of course. So that was a very cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my goal. I wanted to give the kids, the experience of actually producing something that would be printed up, published, and distributed, and teach them how to do that. And also get them on the other side of the table at a Comic-Con, which is the other thing that we did. We went to the Ape Show one year.
ApeCon.
I miss Ape when it used to be in the city.
Dude,
Yeah.
I have an unfortunate story about ApeCon, but it was a mistake on my part. So bad. Anyways.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for them. I mean, they sold stuff, it was thrilling for them.
Yeah. Was a good experience for me. Thanks for having that happen. And yeah, I think they're still trying to keep up with it. COVID threw a monkey wrench in all the things, of course.
Right.
Okay, well, why don't we get into what you're currently working on?
Yeah.
I believe you have a project called Tattoo Klaus.
Yeah, let me get that. Yeah, so these are all the pages. And there's a lot of pages. So what can I tell you? What do you want to know?
Why don't you start off with an overview? What is Tattoo Klaus about? What's the story that you're trying to tell here?
Well, so it's about a fallen Jewish man who was his father was killed in World War I, and he's growing up, in the Weimar Republic era, and he's sort of taken under the wing of a tattoo artist who acts like a surrogate, father to him, and up through the Nazi period, and he's tattoos, sailors, soldiers, and SS men, and things like that. He's abandoned his Jewish identity, and as the Nazis come to power, he's sort of is hiding in plain view. He's befriended a lot of the SS until one day his rabbi is being abused in the streets of Hamburg, and the rabbi recognizes him and shouts something to him, and so he's then sent to the labor camps, Auschwitz. He ends up in Auschwitz, but they learn that he was a tattoo artist because some of the guards there know him from being tattooed by him, and he becomes a tattooer in Auschwitz, and he does other things in Auschwitz that he, in order to survive, and he knows a ventriloquist who has a dummy by the name of Mr. Ratchets, who ends up in the gas chambers, and Klaus is sent to help clear out the gas chambers. And when he does, the ventriloquist is one of the victims lying on the floor, and he pulls him and throws him on the cart. And then he hears the voice of the ventriloquist telling him not to put him on the cart. If he saves him, he will save himself. But when he goes to take the ventriloquist off the cart, he hears another voice, the same voice, say, "Not him, me," and it's the dummy. And the soul of the ventriloquist had been transferred into the dummy, and he gets them through the death camps and everything, and back into after the war, where he is then becomes a world famous ventriloquist, well, obviously, because you have a dummy that can speak by itself. And then from there, it goes on until there's a twist at the end, and I don't want to really reveal that right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. That's chilling and unusual, right? It seems to go from this very real historical. Is it historical or historical fiction to well, I guess it's historical fiction, because then it takes this supernatural twist with the dummy, huh?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Wow. That's a wild tale. What's the inspiration for this? Is it based on somebody that you know, or is it all made up?
It's all made up.
Okay.
It's all made up. Well, actually, it came from this.
Ah,
Okay. Cool.
I just drew this. I don't know why I drew it. I try and keep sketching things that, free form, that I don't really think about, because I know that an idea or an inspiration may come from it later. And
Yeah.
it did. I drew this guy sitting on a bench with a dummy, and all of a sudden, I don't know, a couple months later, he had a name. A couple months later, he had a story. A couple months later, it went off the rails.
Cool.
great.
Well, I've got to say, you sent us some samples of it, and it looks great, right? We've got, real nice style with just bold, vibrant colors going on. And then as we get into the flashbacks of like the World War I story, it takes like a monotone. So that was, a cool separation for getting these flashbacks. And if you've got some real brutal, even kind of grisly war scenes here, where some of them aren't quite fit for an all ages show like this, but you could really just feel the emotions going through, the desperation, the the agony of them going through war. There's a lot of great, again, when it gets back to the colored pages, just very vibrant colors that I really enjoyed. Like some kind of political type cartooning going on here. Just is a very interesting read, the pages that you sent us. I really dig historical fiction, World War II stuff, and just going to be looking forward to this series. Very
thank you. I'm glad you
interesting, it
like it.
seems. Yeah. So like, tell us a bit more about like how's it coming along? How many pages do you expect it to be, and when do you think when do you think we'll be able to, purchase a copy?
Oh boy.
That's the question, right?
I haven't been working on it for months, really. I need to just force myself to sit down at the drawing table again and just wrap it up. At least it's all outlined,
Mhm.
at least, and so it'll be very easy to pencil it out and then transfer that to Bristol. I'm up to, let's see, what page is this? I have 50 pages completed in color and everything, and I think I'm going to do it in 2 books, book 1 and book 2. And I'm hoping to have probably, I don't know, maybe like 130, 150 pages total. And I'll split that up between 2 books that are maybe like 70, 75 pages each.
Nice. That's
Cool.
great.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have some pages to share with us and our
Sure.
viewers?
Let's see. So maybe, does that help?
Comic size.
Oh, I like that. Awesome.
Very nice. Wow, look at that. So tell us a little bit about this page. Like, what are we looking at here?
You're looking at the bridge of a U-boat in World War I.
Okay.
And this is when it transitions back to black and white, and that begins the story of Otto, the tattoo artist who took Klaus under his wing. And this kind of talks a little bit about, this is Otto.
Mm-hmm.
He was on a U-boat, and this is his backstory and his experiences in the First World War. Shows Otto and Klaus and his mother. This is when he walks away from his mother. He abandons his mother because he doesn't want to be live the life that she wants for him. He wants to live his own life.
Cool.
So these are some of the things he's doing in order to make money. He just makes stuff up and tells the SS men that these are ancient Nordic, tattoos of fertility, and bravery and all this other. It's kind of right after the war. This is when Klaus and his mother are thrown out of their home.
Oh yeah,
even though his father's a war hero. I mean, he was a recipient of the Order of the Eagle with crown for bravery, but everything fell apart, so it didn't matter anymore. Here's a picture of his father's backstory. That's his father standing there in the lower left-hand corner, I think it is.
Mm.
All the backstories I wanted to them to be memories, and so that's why I decided to use the gray wash
Yeah.
to make it different.
Okay. So what are so you're on the flashbacks, you're doing like pen and ink, and then you're doing a gray wash with like watercolor, and then on
Yeah.
the color ones, are you using watercolors or pastels? What media are you using for all these?
For the black and white, it's the same pen and ink, but I use lamp black watercolor in various dilutions.
Mhm.
So I get from a wispy, almost whitish gray to a very dark gray.
Mhm.
And then for the color, I'm using just regular transparent watercolor, and also gouache, which is a very opaque watercolor. It depends on what I'm trying to accomplish visually. But those are the two types of watercolor that I use.
Right, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so what are you using for your reference? I mean, you're drawing all these U-boats and World War I outfits and World War II outfits. And so you just using the internet, or what else you got?
Well, when I first started out, all cartoonists had what they referred to as a morgue. And what a morgue was just, you'd have a filing cabinet, right? Full of, hundreds of file folders that were filled with all kinds of photo reference. you know, 50 different photographs of a telephone, 50 different photographs of street scenes. These were all visual references that you could go to if you wanted to draw something. You can't draw this stuff just out of imagination. It's just you're not gonna get it right.
Yeah.
But now you have the internet. You have I also used to go to the library, if I needed photo reference for certain things, but yeah, I just go on the internet and type something in and then go to images, and it gives me anything I need.
Yeah, the internet's a perfect source. I use it too.
Electronic morgue.
Yeah, basically.
Saves a lot of space.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you still have an old morgue filing cabinet, or has that gone away?
That went away years and years and years ago.
Okay. Well, so how are you planning on publishing this comic? Like, what resource are you using? Is there have you picked out a publisher or a way to print it, or?
Well, I approached a literary agent a few years ago, and he took a look at it and said, "Yeah, we can definitely do something with this. As soon as you get it finished, let me know."
Okay.
He probably thinks I've fallen off the edge of the earth because I haven't finished it yet. But I'll approach him again when it's done, when the first book is done, and see if he's still interested. If he's not, I'll look for other literary agents who might take it up. It's better to go through a literary agent, because if they've already put a check mark on it, then the publisher knows that it's a good bet.
Mm.
It's like a baseball scout. If they recommend somebody, then the team goes, okay, then well, they must be good.
Okay, so you're not looking to self-publish. You're going to be getting an established publishing company through this literary agent is your goal then, huh?
Well, yeah, I don't know anything about I don't know that much about self-publishing. I've never really I've never really gone that route. I've always been in a publication that a legitimate publishing company owned, and or somebody else, like the comics anthologies, the two anthologies I showed you that are both printed in Europe. One comes out of Amsterdam from Holland. The other one comes out of, I think, Bristol in the UK. They're small run publications, and I'm not really sure how they distribute. But yeah, I would prefer to go through a large house that could handle everything, because I don't have the time or the inclination to do all that work myself. I just want to create art.
Yeah, I get that.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
I did self-publishing for my comic book, and I had to print out like 30 of them, and
Yeah,
I've been self-publishing entirely for like what I guess everything I've ever done. Like, putting the books together, like creating the PDF, sending it to the printers, paying to get all that printed, doing all of your marketing, just all of that. I understand when you're just like, I don't have the bandwidth for that. I mean, I did it and it burned me out, and I still do it to this day. But I agree. If you go the route that you're going, you just create art. I would love to do that. Here, now take this, just give it to the world.
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
how? Sorry, go ahead.
And I don't know how it works on. As I understand it, there's something you can do on Amazon and they publish it for you on a per sale basis. People can look at it online, and if they want it, then they can purchase it either for a Kindle, or Amazon handles the printing of the hard copy and sends it out, and they take a percentage.
I see. I did not know that.
Yeah, I a couple years back picked up a comic book through Amazon. It's like a square bound comic called 100% Biodegradable, and it's some kind of UK comics, and that was just a print on demand out of Las Vegas. So I ordered it. Amazon printed it, shipped it off to me. I've got some friends that are reading some books for their church group, and those are all print on demand. And my friend Brendan Bartholomew, his father Steve Bartholomew is an author, and I believe all of his books are all print on demand through Amazon. So if we do have any viewers interested in that, shoot us an email, geeks@goblinscomics.com, and we can find out some more information from some of our pals about how you can self-publish through Amazon.
You can go on Amazon's website, and at the very bottom, it has a link to their publishing house, and it'll just walk you through the whole process easily.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. Great.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? You don't have to prepay all these printing costs. You don't have to store them. You just if you got a convention coming up or whatever, then I guess you print out some copies in advance, and yeah, it's really changing how things are done, huh?
Yeah, I think for the better. I mean, that way you don't incur the expense and have it just sitting around in your garage or something.
Yeah.
Worried about whether you're going to sell them or not,
or if there's going to be an atmospheric river that's going to flood your garage or not.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Cool. Well, so is this going to be your first graphic novel, or have you done some printed graphic novels before, John?
No, this will be the first one. I never really thought about doing a graphic novel before this thing popped into my head, and so yeah, this will be my first one, probably my last one too. It's quite a commitment when you commit to doing something can be up to like 300, end up being like over 300 pages.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I've just drawn like 23 pages. 300 at once. Wow.
Yeah, I
Oh,
done that too, just 22 pages, and then that was quite a bit of work. A lot of respect for all of these creators that I love that are just, putting out a full comic every month or whatever. It's just amazing the amount of dedication it takes and love for the craft.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was insane. My first book was 300 pages. But I'm curious, John, like your process, like when you come up with the story and like everything, do you actually write out scripts or do you like thumbnail everything?
What I guess it depends on the piece. Like if it's a 4 or 5 pager, I usually have an idea, and so I'll write it out on, like, a yellow pad or something, and then I'll start breaking it down into pages and then individual panels. And then from there, I'll take, like, a white sheet of paper and just start thumbnailing it and getting an idea of what camera angles I want to use, whether I want a close up or whether I want a landscape or something like that to convey what it is I'm talking about. And then from there, I do a really tight pencil on a piece of white paper that's the size of the Bristol I'm going to try to transfer it to. So I do really tight pencils, put that on a light box, and then transfer it in ink to the Bristol paper.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wow. So you don't do pencils on Bristol first. It's just you start with ink on the Bristol, huh?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I like to really get a really tight pencil on the scratch paper, and that just, it gives me the same thing. With a light box, it's basically just putting the pencil on the Bristol that way, but I don't have to go back and erase.
Cool. Very cool.
It leaves out that step, which I don't really like to do. Sometimes I'll do a pencil on the Bristol, like the New Yorker cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they might have a little bit of pencil on it, very light. Well, usually what I do is I'll pencil on the Bristol, and then I take a kneaded eraser and I just kind of rub it lightly over top of the pencil, and it just grays it right out.
Yeah. That's cool. That's true.
Cool.
Yeah, and then that way, I'm going to come back anyway with a gray wash, so that I might not even have to erase it at that point. It'll just disappear in the gray wash.
Right. All right, cool. Well, hey, let's open it up for our viewers. If you have any questions for John, please shout out in the chats, and we'll have Tatsuo checking that out to ask any questions you guys got. So John, you sent us a couple other samples as well. There was the Ballad of Donnie Ducktail and Bonnie Beehive. That one was a lot of fun,
I like that
maybe
one.
a bit more for adults. But why don't you tell us a little bit about that one?
All right. Well, that I don't know where. Actually, I made a pencil cup holder for myself. Right.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's awesome.
Nice.
And I don't know where these two came from. Probably my childhood. This is what people used to look like when I was a kid.
Okay.
Okay. And so I made that, and then, of course, I had to give them names. And obviously, with a ducktail haircut, the beehive hairdo, it had to have that in it. So Donnie Ducktail, Bonnie Beehive, and then I wrote a song. It was the ballad of Donnie and Bonnie, and it's an actual song. And then I decided, well, I'm going to I'll put it into a comic, and then I did that. When I was younger, I was a professional musician, and I was a songwriter, and
Oh, awesome.
yeah. had some of my songs published and covered by other people. And so, you know, I still do that occasionally. I still write songs that they just pop into my head. I don't know where they come from. And that's where Donnie and Bonnie came from. They were a song for, no, they were a pencil cup holder first. Then they were a song, and then they were a comic.
That's awesome.
In fact, I think they're, no, not in that one. No, I thought they were in one of these. There's this one too. I did this. This is in Headache Comics, which is the one that came out of England.
Okay.
And I did this when S. Clay Wilson died. I did this comic about him and his story, and then I gave it to Lorraine, his widow, who lives in the Mission, and is we've become friends over the years, because she knows, you know, I was heavily influenced by S. Clay Wilson, and just, you know, he was just phenomenal. And when he passed away, I did that comic for Lorraine. But yeah, so
I'm not familiar with S. Clay Wilson. Can you tell me a bit about who he was and what he did?
yeah, he was one of the original Zap artists.
Okay.
He came up with a character by the name of the Checkered Demon.
Okay.
And various other nefarious characters like the Pervert Pirates and Star-Eyed Stella and things like that. He was in Zap, I think, after issue number 2 or 3. I can't remember which one he first appeared in. But you know, his stuff was really over the top, you know, obscene, I guess is how it would be characterized. But you know, he really pushed the envelope of what comics could do when it came to subject matter. You know, he felt that, you know, nothing was off the table. And but you know, you have to put him in context of the time period that he lived in, which was, you know, the late 50s and early 60s, you know, when the society was you know, pretty uptight and you know, conformist. So these guys came along and they just got right into the face of that and would depict things that, you know, well, they ended up in court, you know, on profanity charges and things like this, and First Amendment battles and everything, and they won basically, and they all were like mainly in San Francisco, and you know. But yeah, I recommend to everybody check out the Zap artists, you know, all of them: Victor Moscoso, you know, Spain Rodriguez, Robert Williams, S. Clay Wilson, R. Crumb, you know, all those guys. You know, some of the draftsmanship is phenomenal.
Okay. And so Zap Comics was kind of more of an underground comic. As he said, a lot of the artists were centered in San Francisco. How can we pick those up? Is there a collection of those? Is there a shop in San Francisco that carries them? Amazon?
I think Fantagraphic Books carries a number of them. If not, you know, I think you can get them on eBay. I don't know. They were hold on one sec.
All right.
They were they were distributed you know, in the head shops back in the day where you would buy, you know, the drug paraphernalia and everything, and that was their distribution. Other than mail order, you could, you know, in the back of each issue, you could mail for other titles and things like that. So it was all self published and self distributed and the like.
Oh, it looks like we have another special guest. Who's this, John?
Yeah, that's my editor.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, you know, you can get reprints of them. I think it's pretty easy, and you can get collections of them. And I think respond to that. And then, oh God, cats.
Your other editor.
Go away. Go away. Sorry. So yeah, Fantagraphics, I think, was the original publisher when they went into reprints, and I think they print a lot of you know, the contemporary underground stuff that these guys were doing.
Mm-hmm. Right, cool. Zap Comics sounds good. All right, well, looks like we're about wrapping up here. What else? Hey, why don't you tell us a story about some of your comic creation, one of your, I don't know, one of your memorable memories.
Okay, well, I came up with this comic called Shark Boy.
Yeah.
And oh, actually, maybe this is,
Oh, nice.
Okay.
yeah, Hot Curl Comics.
Shark
it was
teeth.
a surfing, you know, who's part human, part shark.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up with him when my girls were in elementary school, and so which made me the coolest dad in the world. And the principal of the school that the girls went to just thought Shark Boy was the neatest thing he'd ever seen. So you know, if there was ever any kind of a problem, we could just call the principal up, and since he was a fan, a fanboy, it would you know, we had a sympathetic ear, so to speak. But yeah.
Cool. Did you do full comics for Shark Boy, or was it just a one-off cover type thing, or?
That was just ended up being a one-off cover because then I started picking up more clients for freelance, and you know, I wanted to put my energy into that. I mean, I did a couple of stories, a couple of I don't know, I think like 4-pagers, 6-pagers, and things like that. But I never put anything together.
He does look cool. I like his design.
Yeah, the backstory, the origin story of Shark Boy is his mother was pregnant with him when she watched a marathon of all the Jaws movies.
Okay.
So when Shark Boy was born,
He was half shark.
he had a lot of shark in him.
Very cool. It's definitely a story that I need to read.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. I want to read it too. Yeah, it sounds cool.
Well, maybe we can collaborate. You guys want to collaborate on it? I'll write it. You draw it.
I mean, yeah, I have been wanting to get back into caricature art because I did it for a little bit. So
If you want to do that, let's do it. I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm not too much of an artist, but maybe some layouts or some writing ideas is what I could contribute.
Well,
You can
you
do
know,
the drawing.
you could put it out to your listeners. If anyone out there wants to try and do the artwork, I'm more than happy to put stories together.
Yeah, I'm an artist, so that sounds like an interesting idea. I do like caricature art, like it's very stylized and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there it is, viewers. If you are interested in making
Yeah.
Shark Boy happen, send us an email, leave us a comment or a message. We're on Facebook, YouTube, all the good things, and let us know, and let's make this happen.
The rise of Shark Boy.
All right. Well, great. Hey, thanks a lot for being our guest, John. You have any last thoughts or comments you want to add before we end our show?
Yeah, don't be as an artist, a writer, anything you want to do in comics, don't be your own worst critic. Just keep doing it, and don't let anybody tell you whether it's good or not. You're the only one that matters. Whether you think it's good or not, no one else in the world matters. Their opinion doesn't matter. Only yours does. And find an artist that you really, really like, and then copy it line for line, shade for shade. Copy it as assiduously as you can, and don't worry about that you'll never find your own style, because that's not possible. It's not possible. Okay, you will not be able to help but have your own style, because you're an individual. You are unique, and it will come out no matter what. You can't suppress it. So that being said, you can't adopt somebody else's style either. It's not possible. Yours will always shine through. But the way you learn how to do this craft is by constantly applying yourself to drawing or writing. Do it as much as you can and copy somebody. I can't emphasize that enough. Find somebody you like and try and perfect your style with them.
Yeah, great words. That's
Yeah.
I think that's a great start. Good thing to start with right there. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. Worked for me.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, John Pogorelskin. He's got a seminar coming up at Pence Gallery in Davis. He's got his graphic novel Tattoo Klaus that we'll be looking for in the not so far future. Thanks a lot for joining us. Our next show is going to be on March 26th. So all our viewers, we hope to see you then.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man, and we'll see everyone on next Sunday.
In 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks. next Sunday, right? It's 2 weeks, right? Next Sunday. 2 weeks. All right, I'm gonna turn off the live.